All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little Golden State Warrior video. Is Dwight Howard coming to the Warriors? We'll talk about that and discuss it next. But first, Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Get the brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. All right, let's talk a little bit about one of the stories that is starting to percolate. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Dwight Howard, has completed his 2-day interview process with the Warriors yesterday and is set to work out with Draymond Green and Chris Paul in Los Angeles on Thursday. This is according to a report from Jason Dumas of Cron 4 News. The Warrior veteran players, quote, have signed off on the idea of bringing Dwight into the fold, according to Dumas. And the Warriors could potentially make a decision on whether or not to sign him as soon as this week. Now, Shams Charania and Anthony Slater from The Athletic first reported last week that Howard would be visiting the Warriors as the Warriors have been exploring signing a reserve veteran big man this offseason. Now, is he an ideal fit? Well, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I mean, in some ways, the ideal fit would be a perimeter shooting big man because to stretch the floor a little bit better. A Frank Kaminsky or somebody like that who could shoot the basketball from the three-point line. They just signed Usman Garuba, who's a 41% three-point shooter last year, so maybe Garuba on the two-way deal fills that need. But the Warriors were just too small the last year or two, and they need some size, and Dwight Howard would give them size. Now, we all know that Dwight Howard has been, the object of affection for Joe Lacob for a long time. Joe loves Howard. He always has. It's pretty clear, and he wants him. And, part of me says, Howard's a clown, and he's just not serious, and he wouldn't fit in the Warriors culture, which is why I believe that the Warrior players were asked about, the idea of bringing Dwight into the fold, because in a lot of ways, even though he's a bench player, he might change their chemistry a little bit, and they're not a clownish outfit. They're a professional outfit. They're very professional in how they go about their business. So to me, it's a significant bridge to cross that the veterans on this team have signed off on the idea. Now, Kendra Andrews from ESPN reported on the NBA Today on Monday that Howard was considered just another workout for the Warriors and that there was no guarantee he would be signed. In fact, the quote from Andrews, she says, while this has been brought up a lot of conversation externally, I'm told the Warriors are looking at this as just another workout, just another guy they're bringing in to get a look at. They want to bring in a veteran. They want to bring in a big man. By bringing him into San Francisco this week, that doesn't mean that he's a member of the team. It's just another part of the process as they look to fill out the remaining roster spots. And I understand what she's saying there, but Dwight Howard is a future Hall of Famer. So he's not just another guy you're bringing in. And, it's interesting. I think Dwight Howard's coming to the Bay Area. I really do. Especially now that the Warrior veterans have signed off on him coming here. And he's not the player that he once was, but he's still a valuable contributor. He can be a rim protector for the Warriors in a bench role behind Draymond Green, behind Kevon Looney. You're not playing him lots of minutes. I mean, how many minutes is he going to get? He's going to get minimal minutes, but I think he is exactly what you need. Why? Because he can be a finisher at the rim. He can be a lob threat. The thing about the Golden State Warriors, you play the Warriors, you got to defend the three-point line. Everybody knows it. But in their heyday, you also had to defend the rim. And, there was talk maybe about JaVale McGee. McGee instead signed with the Sacramento Kings. JaVale McGee, in a lot of ways, brings you the same kind of thing that Dwight Howard brings you, except maybe in a little bit different package. I mean, JaVale's not a Hall of Famer, but he can set a pick, he can roll to the bucket, and he can finish at the rim. And Howard can do those things as well. Now, Dwight was out of the NBA all of last season, but he's in great shape. He played in Taiwan in their T1 league. In that league, which is a far cry from the NBA, he averaged 23 points a game in 20 games. He played for the Taoyuan Leopards. He's now 37. He last played in the NBA in the 2021-2022 season as a member of the Lakers. And he was a depth player for them. He averaged 6.2 points, 5.9 rebounds in 60 games, and he shot 61% from the floor. A lot of that's just dunks and putbacks. The Warriors are trying to bounce back. Warriors are not in any kind of a rebuild mode. The Warriors are trying to maximize and win another title, at least contend for another title. You got to have a bigger bodied guy inside. They were just too damn small last year. They can't win another NBA title with this core unless they have some additional size. And the one thing about Dwight Howard, he'll give you that size. He'll be able to finish at the rim. He can catch the lob. He can get in front of opposing big men. And I think that it's, in a lot of ways, people look at it as not a good fit because the Warriors are a serious professional outfit, and Howard's been kind of clownish in the tail end of his career. In a lot of ways, I think this might be the perfect matchup, the perfect marriage, I should say. Why? Because I think the Warriors' seriousness and focus and intensity as a team, and any team that has Draymond Green has exactly that. They're a focused, intense team with goals, right? I mean, that's what the Warriors are at this point. I think that's exactly the kind of environment that Dwight Howard needs to be in. If Dwight Howard is going to be effective, he needs to be in an environment where there's some real stakes, and the Warriors, they're playing for a title, or at least they want to play for a title, and there's real stakes. And he needs to be on a team where he has a real role. On this team, he'd have a real role. You think about the inside players on this team right now. You got Draymond Green. Kuminga's going to play a little bit inside. He's undersized. Kevon Looney's going to play a little bit inside. He's your starting center. He's undersized at 6'9", 230 or whatever he is. So it's a smallish team. Dario Saric was brought in. I guess he's the big man that can shoot the ball. So you don't really, he's your stretch four. And he's very skilled. But they really need a five. They need somebody who can bang bodies inside with the Jokic's of the world and the Anthony Davises of the world. And if the Warriors are going to have any chance at all of getting out of the West, they can't be the donut team anymore. They can't be the team that, they're good, but they just don't have any presence in the middle. They have to have a presence in the middle. Now, Dwight, I think in this environment is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Why? Because there's a seriousness to the way the Warriors go about their business, and it will force Dwight to be a little bit more like his serious self from earlier in his career. And I think that will add focus to his game. I think he will give them a rim protector, a lob finisher. You'll have to defend the rim and the three-point line. So once you have a legitimate lob threat, and the Warriors don't have that, then you got to defend the rim on every sequence that he's on the floor. And if you have a situation where you've got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and you've got to defend the three-point line, and then you have Dwight Howard, and you've got to defend the lob, I think that creates a ton of space in the in-between, the intermediate range, the mid-range, for whatever else you want to get done. But if you don't have, right now they got 3-point shooting. So you got to defend the 3-point line, but you really don't have to defend the lob, and you don't have to worry about the rim. If you have Dwight Howard and he's on the floor, you're going to have to worry about somebody throwing him the lob because he can still get up. He's got a young man's body. And yeah, he's 37. He's got a lot of experience, but he doesn't have a lot of he's not like a decrepit old guy that can't move. He can run up and down. He can still get up and down with them. But now if you have him, you got to defend the rim. So to me, it's all about personality fit. His game fits what they need. His game fits the team, but his personality may not. But now that the veteran players have signed off on Dwight Howard, you at least have the okay from them. I think it's going to happen. And the Warriors don't have a lot of great options, to be completely frank about this at this point. It's September the 21st. Training camp's just around the corner. The season will be here shortly. There are not a lot of big men available that you have to worry about them throwing the lob to. And Dwight Howard's one of them. If they had gotten JaVale McGee, McGee has played some of his best basketball in recent years. That would have been nice, but he went to Sacramento. And so now you're looking at very limited options, and I think Dwight Howard fits. And if the vets are cool with it, I think we should be as well. Hopefully, Dwight will be serious. Hopefully, Steve won't have to worry about his focus or his intensity. And who knows? If you put Dwight Howard and his talent and length in this locker room with all of this focus and drive and intensity, it might be the perfect marriage. So if you're asking me, what do? I say thumbs up. Give me the thumbs up on Dwight Howard, even though I know there's some clown act to his game. And, you could argue he's not a serious person or a serious player. But I think in this environment, I think he'll bring out the best in Dwight Howard. All right, thanks to Pig in a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. And thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.